So you're going to have us on live as of now.
Yep.
So here we are on YouTube. We're going live, and you're on during our setup, but you're going to enjoy meeting Mike Schrader of Epic Aircraft in Oregon, and he's going to take us through one of his Epic 1000 aircraft. It's a great opportunity for you to look at an airplane that's fairly new on the market. They are available now. They're under production, and they're actually making deliveries. So just stick with us. And can they chat with you to ask questions off of YouTube?
Yeah.
So Dallas is going to be monitoring your questions, and don't try to hold them till the end, because we don't have a thing at the end for questions. If you have a question, type it in right away, and we'll try to let Mike know that you have that question. And I don't need to tell you this, but I'm going to anyway. This is the very first time that we've done this. We do webinars all the time, but if this works out as well as I think it's going to, we're going to start to offer this service to anyone who has an airplane for sale, that they can walk us through the aircraft.
Yep, just heard from Mike Schrader, and he's getting on soon.
I have 850 or 956.
Yep, me too. Oh, there he is. He's coming in.
So I guess we can start as soon as he's ready, right?
Yep. I'm going to start letting everybody in a second. There's a couple people in the waiting room.
Hey, Mike, turn on your microphone.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect.
Okay.
We are actually live right now on YouTube during our
Okay.
session. And I had a little chat with them all and told them that we were getting ready to do this. So
Okay. So we're moving in. How many people do we have on?
1 billion.
Okay, that's good cover.
I can't answer that. I'd have to ask Dallas.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
going to start.
I'm in a unique situation here, because the only airplane I have is one we're delivering. So you're going to have some technicians walking around doing some work, and so I'm just going to give you a little familiarization with our airplane, what we're doing. So in the lighting in this delivery hangar is not the best, but at least we'll give you some good information.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and start letting people in now. Okay, you guys ready?
Okay.
Go.
Okay.
Can you still hear me okay?
I see a bunch of people are jumping on. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to get on this. I'm Tom Alston from Aero Marine Tax Professionals, and the guy holding the camera showing the Epic aircraft is Mike Schrader. And every now and then he's going to stick his beautiful face in there as he takes you through this airplane. But Mike, the floor is all yours. And thank you, John and Mark and Alex and
Would you mind putting the flaps down? Would it be okay? Or can they come down? Okay.
And this is live TV, so you're going to hear us talking to each other also. So it's all yours, Mike.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. We are in the Epic delivery hangar right now, and so the airplane's going to look a little rough in some proportions. The reason for this is literally either all our aircraft are gone or flying, or our demo plane is in annual inspection right now. So what we have here is a group of technicians right now getting an airplane ready to deliver. This is our, well, let me take a look here. This is our serial number 38 getting ready to go out the door the next week or so. So just to give you a little idea of the aircraft itself, it's the Epic E1000 GX. This is our second iteration of the E1000 series. This aircraft The changes that were made between the two series was the E1000 GX has the 5-blade Hartzell composite prop on it, and the Garmin GFC 700 autopilot. In a few minutes, I'll get in the cockpit and you'll be able to see the cockpit okay and just get an idea of the aircraft. Right now, they're looks like they're popping the counts up, but just to give you a little idea of some of the things on the aircraft, here's the, we're going right now, the flap system. I'm just gonna do a little bit of a walk around so you can kind of see what the exterior of the aircraft looks like. This is actually a slotted flap, which is gives us some great slow speed handling characteristics on the aircraft. We have a very nice approach speed of about 90 to 95 knots, and you're looking at over the numbers of about 85 knots. So an aircraft of this size and this proportion of turbo aircraft, that's pretty amazing. And so we coming through the flap area, we have coming through the ailerons, you'll notice a nice smooth contour. There's no rivets on this aircraft because it is all composite. So you can see the beautiful reflections of the aircraft, how it looks. This is actually one of our new paint schemes for 2023. The customer's picking this up, like I mentioned earlier, in probably about 2 weeks. So we're just doing some final delivery prep for the aircraft. One of the interesting things on our aircraft is we have a kind of an elliptical wing in some respects. When you look at that leading edge, you'll see that it kind of curves down a little bit. It's very unique. So you see an airplane fly over. This is the only airplane out there that you'll see with that kind of elliptical leading edge to it. So very unique to it, very unique sound too, because the airplane is so fast. Sounds like a jet going by. Many times people will make that comment. And we'll go by the technicians here and off to the side. They're in discussion right now. You see the 5-blade Hartzell propeller. This is something not everybody gets to see. You get to see this beautiful PT6 67A engine installation. This is a 1200 horsepower, flat rated from, actually it's flat rated at 1200 horsepower with 1800 thermodynamic capability and 1000 horsepower continuous. So when you look at this airframe itself at 8,000 pound gross weight, 1200 horsepower engine on it, you just imagine the performance and how nice it is on performance. You got the 5-bladed Hartzell propeller. PT6 is shut down in feather, so it's at a feathered position. Nice big intake area. Any questions while I'm walking around? Feel free to ask. Here's a side with that design interrupted on view, so you kind of get an idea of what it looks like. We spent 8 years getting this aircraft certified. It started in 2012 and finished up in 2019, and in November 2019. The aircraft itself is from a design that we built back in the mid-2000s, which was actually a kit plane where the customers would come up here and build the aircraft, and we discontinued that program in 2013. So coming back on the other side here, just got a little walk around. One of the nice things about this aircraft is our trailing link landing gear, and I'll get down here so we can get a better look at it. And I apologize for the lighting. So that trailing link landing gear, everybody kind of jokes, it kind of makes better pilots out of all of us. Nice soft landings, a very robust landing gear. And some more emergency exit area. So we have a 43-foot wingspan, 12-foot high tail section. Let's get the top of the tail here. Look, there we go. Sorry, my camera thumb there. There we go. We're currently booked out through late this summer for deliveries, and we're running about 2 a month right now. So I'm gonna get inside the airplane in the cockpit. You'll see the cockpit area. It's going to be a little bit messy because we have some of the weights for the fly off that we're doing on this airplane. They're adjusting the stall speed and everything, getting that ready. The rear seat cabin area. Make sure I don't step on anything critical here. In the step through, I'm 6'3" and weigh 270 pounds. Lots of room for me, even a guy like me, to get into this airplane. I'm going to work on my camera here just a little bit. See if I can get a little bit better view here. Can you see the cockpit okay?
Yes.
Hey, Tom. Okay. Yep. Do you guys have any questions while we're going through this?
Yeah, Mike, there's a couple questions in the chat.
Okay.
So what is your favorite feature of this plane so far?
Well, right now, the biggest one is, the size of the cabin is one of the great features of this airplane. It's nice inside, lots of room. We have, you're looking at the panel now, it's got an excellent panel design. Trying to keep the camera back here a little bit so I can zoom out a little bit. The cockpit is designed around the ergonomics of just moving through the flow and making it easy. So if you look at the bottom there, you'll see the knee bolster. That's all the circuit breakers are on the knee bolster, not stuck beside you on a wall, or actually the fuselage side or anything on the side that's hard to reach. The switches are all based around the flow. So if we'll come up here, let me kind of crawl in here a little bit. Sorry for the jostling around. It's kind of the first time I've done it this way, so.
Alex, do you have a question?
Oh, I was going to hold off until the end with a few questions.
So
You can
now
ask.
I'll just kind of come down here to the, you can ask whatever you want. That's great.
Mike, is that a G1000 NXI?
That is correct, yes. So I'm just trying to focus in here on the panel just a little bit so you can kind of see. I'll turn the yoke just a little bit. So what we've done is we've taken, you look at the switching system here. So the pilot sets in here and it's all pre-start from here. So we have pre-start left to right. We have pre-taxi left to right, and that's all top down. And then systems, and then we move over here to lighting and environmental. And then down here, we've got the all the switching for the climate control. So it's very simple to operate. The flow is amazing. We have what we call this kind of the wedge pad. So you can see the kind of the top of the panel there, and then I'll just hit the switch, the toga switch, and you can see there's some red lights going on because the engine shut off, the flaps are down, press air and everything else you can see there. What we do is everything's green on that just before we roll out on the runway. We're ready to go. So it's kind of a checklist within a checklist. It's your whole annunciator panel. On the right side of that, we have the AOA and of course the gear and the flaps in position. So the flaps are down in full, 3 in the green. Glad that's correct. It is the NXI and it's the Garmin. Let me get this switched out here. It's a Garmin G1000 XI like you'd asked, and it's a GFC 700 autopilot. We got some stuff in the way here. Our guys have been flying, just got back from a flight, and so they're just getting some prep and some additional information on it, or additional getting ready for the next flight. And any other questions?
Yes, there is.
Okay, go ahead.
One says, I'm familiar with max performance numbers. Do you have real life performance number expectations?
Well, we have had, I just got back from a trip, and literally the service ceiling is 24,000 feet. It's typically where pretty much everybody flies at above 30,000 feet because the fuel consumption and everything is so good on it at that altitude. So we're at 34,000 feet. We're seeing between 310, 315 knots, depending on what our ISA temperature is outside. And the fuel burn is about 49 gallons an hour at that altitude. So it's a good solid 4 hour with reserves. One real time we did just recently, we flew down to Las Vegas, 2 hours to Las Vegas from Bend, Oregon. And you can check this flight plan out. If you go November 831 Victor Foxtrot was our demo plane that we used for that trip. From Vegas, we did the nonstop to Athens, Georgia, which was, I think it was a little bit above 1,500 miles of our recollection. And we had a nice tailwind, and we were doing 456 knots, which is pretty amazing with that nice tailwind. On our return flight, we came back at about between 33 and 34,000 feet in that range. And we came back from Pompano Beach nonstop to Wichita, Kansas in 4 hours. And then nonstop from Wichita, Kansas to Bend, Oregon in just about 4 hours. And that's with headwinds. What are any other questions you might have?
Mike, in regards to the G1000 NXI, do you have the blue level button and underspeed, overspeed protection, hypoxia recognition? Are all those standard on the plane?
That is correct. All of those are standard on the aircraft. In fact, I'll get you in a little closer here. So there's our auto level button there, and all the envelope protection is already on the aircraft. That's part of the price of the aircraft. Any
plans for G3000 down the line?
Actually, I tell people many times that this airframe is at the beginning of its life. If you look at TBM, PC-12, those, you look at they're about 30 years into it now, and you look at the iterations that have come out. We won't be any different. And I say that because we'll probably do what Garmin is coming out with next. As you all probably know, the G1000 system, they were going to discontinue that entirely at one time, and then they decided that because it is such a popular format that they're going to go to the NXI system, which is basically the G3000 operating system on the G1000 format. But they are coming out with new components. I don't know what those are. We haven't been privy to that yet, but we're planning on the next generation of Garmin avionics that we'll probably be using on this aircraft.
And do you see auto throttle, auto land at some point in the future?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You'll see all those things. Yeah, it's and we're in negotiations with Pratt & Whitney on some different things, and so it'll all happen. We always tell people, yeah, these things will happen. Best thing to do is get the airplane now and start saving time on your flights, and then when those new things come out, either trade in, trade up, or move to the next level.
And what's the warranty on the plane?
The warranty on the airplane is 5 years and 1,000 hours on the airframe itself, 7 years and 2,500 hours on the engine. We also come standard with the Pratt & Whitney ESP program for the first 2 years and 400 hours. So you have all your maintenance taken care of on your engine for that time period, and then after that, it's right around $190 per hour per operating, and it covers all your maintenance on your engine up through overhaul and hot section, as long as you stay with the program. And you could
also 5 years.
The avionics is a standard warranty with the Garmin warranties. So it's 3 years and I believe 1,000 hours. I have to go look at the numbers again.
Mike, do you offer this to be demoed by some serious potential buyers?
Yeah, we've been doing demos we've done like 20 demos in the last month and a half. And in fact, we've literally just taken 5 orders in the last 2 weeks from that demo program. one thing I actually didn't get a chance to cover on this cockpit a little bit more is the fuel selector itself is an automatic fuel selector, so it switches back and forth during flight every couple minutes, so it keeps your fuel load on your wings correct. Everything's within reach. We have just your standard keyboard here, your autopilot's up here at the top, and then of course your PFDs and MFDs in the middle. We've
when was the plane certified again, Mike?
2019 in November. So we've had a couple of, it's not only the hurdle to get through the certification of the aircraft with the FAA and everything else, then we had the hurdle to get through COVID. Then we had another certification program with the GX where we put the autopilot and the new prop on it. And that took, nothing happens without time and money. So that took another 8 months, and I don't know how much, but we're here for the long run, and we're making this airplane happen. And that is really truly, when you consider all carbon fiber construction, you're not going to find a stronger airframe out there on the market today. Things like, when we're doing testing, we had the wings deflected, from 40 to 60 inches for deflection before 60 inches before it failed, I think is what I heard, and 40 inches just for standard operating. We decided to certify it in the utility category. So I believe that's 4.4 plus and 2.5 minus, which most companies have stuck with. This is the standard category for certification.
And how many certified models are out there now?
I'm sitting to number 38 right now.
Okay. And you said production is about 2 a month now, 24 a
Yeah,
year?
we're shooting at 2 a month right now. Yeah, a little bit. Whoa. That was some aerobatic maneuver right there.
Mike, are these available now with FIKI, or is that coming soon? I can't remember if I read that.
The FIKI program, we're just right at the trailing edge of our flight test for that. Okay. All aircraft go out with the DI systems on it. It just doesn't have the official FIKI approval on it.
Oh, I understand. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, we expect to have that no later than this summer. But right now they're just going into natural ice flights and try to get that done. It's a very long, arduous process from everywhere from the initial design on. So we don't have any doubt that it'll get it. It's just when we get it.
Does the aircraft have radar?
About another 5 minutes. Yeah, thanks. Am I in your way? Okay. Guys, give me just a second. I'm going to stand up and move out of the airplane so the technicians can continue on with their job. Otherwise, they will beat me over the head. Give me just a moment.
Yeah, and while he's doing that, if you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat. And then I am going to put Mike's info in the chat. If you need to get a hold of him, I'll put his email and his phone number in there.
Alex, I think you asked a question that you didn't get answered because he was interrupted talking.
Yeah, no problem. Mike, can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Does the aircraft have radar?
That's the other certification we're doing right now. We actually redesigned the radome. Your typical radome just looks like a ball, half of a basketball at the end. And we actually have worked with Garmin and designed a laminar flow radome, and we're just getting that final completion, and that'll be done later this year also.
Mike, are you able to buy it green or with a base paint coat and then do your own paint scheme to it?
The tough part about composites is the approved paint for that. We could do a base if you want to. We actually just got final approvals for multiple colors this year. Last year, you probably saw the early models going out, and it was white with a stripe down the side and some just basic colors. All our paints, because it's composite, has to go through a. It's funny because you have all these airplanes flying around out there that are experimental that's never had an issue, but when you go into the certification, it changes things. So they have to meet a certain reflectivity, and on top of reflectivity, absorptivity, they call it. So we've got these additional colors now approved, and we have more. So as you go in and say, hey, I want this scheme, yeah, we can discuss the scheme. We're open to it. We just have to work through to make sure that paints that what we use are approved.
Got it.
Is that
Yep.
is that too many words for one question? Sorry about
No,
that.
it's a complicated topic. That the absorptivity word that's a new one to me, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's you won't see any issues with the composites, but the FAA wants to make sure you don't see any issues with the composites.
Is somebody had asked in a chat, I think, if there was an inertial separator on it.
Yeah, so we have a full inertial separator. In fact,
Okay.
The guys are doing some pressure checks right now, so I got to get away from the noise there a little bit. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a two inertial separator system. So there's a bifurcation line inside the induction system that goes up and splits out to the right and left, and each one has a inertial separator on each side of that. Goes into a large plenum for the intake on the engine. So it's quite a robust system. One of the things on the design of that is we took, in fact, I'm going to walk out here on the floor here. Excuse the mess. This is a one being built. You can get away from the noise a little bit. This is another one getting ready to come off, go to the flight line. So you can see just a little bit here. So this in here, right, is the inertial separator exit out the side cowling. And this is actually the induction system here. So you can see how that bifurcates in the middle on the induction system there.
Got it. Yep.
So yeah, the nice thing about this is this aircraft, if you noticed, has a real high stance off the ground. We've also taken the inertial separator and everything. It sets up many aircraft. You'll see many aircraft. Let me get this straightened out here. Many aircraft you'll see the inertial separator drop out the bottom. We decided to bring it out the side so that if you're sitting there and you happen to turn the inertial separator on the ground or anything, that you're not drawing stuff up, because if it's sitting still, it's going to draw stuff up like a big vacuum. The other thing nice about this is we certified the aircraft to not have to use the inertial separator on takeoff. So the only time you have to use it is in high precip or icing.
What de-icing capabilities does the plane have?
It's a full de-ice boots on the wings, horizontal stabilizer, heated prop. It's got engine bleed air for the windshield, and the intake has a de-ice boot on it.
Does it have a parking brake? And I heard it does not. If so, why?
Part of the reason for it does not have a parking brake. Part of the reason was we're going through old service pulls and stuff from other manufacturers, and the parking brake was a big issue in some cases. So we just cue the guys to make sure if it's on a slope that there's a line service there to chalk you and take care of it. We might have one eventually, but we're just we wanted to keep it as trouble-free as possible.
Mike, have y'all had some trouble with the access door? What were those issues?
The access door. What are you talking about there?
That maybe passengers mishandled it or had some kind of defect or something you had to be extra especially careful with not to damage it.
No, you mean actually the main cabin door? Is that what you're asking about?
Yes.
No, actually not. I mean, it's if they're talking about the window that's in the door, yeah, you have to be careful not to step on the window. It's a no-step area. The only time I've ever had an issue with it, I've been with the company since 2012, is the 12-year-old that decides to use the door as a launch pad to get off of it at an air show. Other than that, we've never had an issue with anything on the door.
That may have been it, that you have to be
Mhm.
careful not to step on the window.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of training. During the training is just to make sure that the biggest problem would be someone with high heels or something like that stepping on it. But as you can see here, each one of the, if I get this straightened out here, sorry, each one of the door or each one of the steps are lighted, so it's pretty evident where you need to put your feet. See when our technicians get it right.
Yeah. How far in advance do you need to know the paint scheme you want?
If you were to order it today, it would be nice to be able to have it within 4 weeks, because we're moving them, beginning to move them through pretty fast. And we have a full set of different paint schemes too that are already pre-done. So a special one would, we don't have a price on how to do a special one, but I could come up with something if you said, hey, I kind of want it to look like this, and our in-house guys can help you with it, or we can see what we can do to make it work.
I was thinking more of a company logo.
Oh, okay, yeah. If you just what we do is just talk about a company logo and see where we could place it, and I can talk to our engineering staff and see where we could set that.
Mike, I heard it. I think you said that you've been with the company since 2012, and I've always wondered, looking at this, that the design, and certainly looking at the cockpit too, it has a lot of similarities to the Columbia, the 400, which is one of my favorite airplanes. That the way the cockpit wraps around, and is there maybe the people? I guess you're in Bend, Oregon too. Is there a lot of cross? I hate to use the term cross breeding there, but it seems like the same vintage. Same style.
Yeah, actually, many of a couple of things. The design itself, there was some insight, some from that, but literally the one of a graphics person kind of said, the fuselage needs to come back up the slope and whatever else, and then they kind of engineered around it. So aesthetically, it's one of the best looking airplanes out there for that reason. The wing was designed was designed by another group, and then they kind of combined everything. But literally, the Epic is being built in its original building, but we purchased from Cessna back in 2012 the Columbia building. In fact, I was doing sales and marketing for Columbia. I'm literally back in my old office, so I've come full circle in the industry. But the itself is, we have many people that used to work at Columbia working here now, all the way from composites up through engineering.
Hey, Mike, what are your service centers in the country?
So if you go to our website, you'll see we've got all of the regions covered now, and then we're adding more within those regions. So for instance, up in the Northeast, I can't think of the name of the company right now, but there's one in the Northeast, in the mid-eastern seaboard there. We've got one in North Carolina, that's Victory Lane Aviation, and then one down in Fort Lauderdale, which is Premier Aircraft. Brody's out of Fort Worth, Texas. The guys in Las Vegas, they're Lone Mountain in Las Vegas out of Henderson. So yeah, we're adding them all the time. Of course, we have our shop here in Bend, Oregon, is a full Part 145 repair station.
Is the Fort Worth Service Center at Meacham?
It's at, I believe that's correct. Yes, I'm trying to think of the name of it, but it's right there at Fort Worth. Brody's Aircraft. They've been there since, I think when aviation began.
Mike, do y'all counsel us on how to minimize the tax consequences? How to structure the purchase of these things?
Well, the folks that put this on would probably be the best ones to talk to about that.
Good answer.
I agree.
I
Beautiful
do.
answer.
I do not pretend to even get close to advising people on their tax. So I always give it to the professionals like who we're talking to now.
Like, what's the fully equipped price on one of these with base and options this year?
I'm sorry, say that again. I didn't quite catch your.
What is your out the door pricing, you know, with base plus options? What are you looking at?
We really don't have a base price. We just pretty much option this aircraft out. The only
Okay.
two options you're going to see this year that'll come online will be the radar, and I believe that's going to be around 50,000, and then the GSR 56 Iridium satellite, which is going to be right about 20,000. Other than that, it's got everything on you want it, like we mentioned earlier, the full autopilot, everything on the autopilot for the what do they call that? The I just love my name just slips now. But anyway, all the components for the autopilot, for the automatic auto level and everything else, and so you're looking at 4.45 million for everything.
You say 4.5?
Correct, 4.45 million.
And that's a GFC 700 autopilot, is that right?
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
And what do you see typically so like a typical cruise true airspeed, not like long range cruise, but you know, the one that you would file for, and then what would your typical expected fuel burn be at that?
Yeah, it's funny. It's you know, we have a long range cruise, but no one ever really fools with it. Everybody just gets in and goes. So you're looking at this aircraft will easily cruise. Well, I like to quote the above 30,000. So at 34,000 feet, you're looking at 315 knots, burning about 50 gallons an hour. If you're down in the mid 20s, 325 knots, burning closer to 60 gallons an hour, about 56 gallons an hour. So it's just a very where you want to sit at. Right now, pretty much every flight that we've taken, except for a couple of short ones, we just go right up to altitude because the fuel burn is so good. And with today's fuel costs, I mean, it does make a big difference. So at 315 knots true, you're looking at just say 50 gallons an hour for ease of work. And it takes 18 minutes to get to right around 18 minutes from sea level to get to 34,000 feet.
And I feel like it has a pretty good carrying capacity too. What would be the payload
so
or useful load with full fuel?
So your useful load is 2,800 pounds. So you add fuel, your payload, full fuel payload is 1,100 pounds.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah, it won't, you know, if you're going to load it up like that, it won't haul 6 of me, but it'll haul of your average person. It'll haul all 6 plus their bags.
Yep.
Mike, what flight level would you fly? Like say 150 to 200 nautical mile flight?
Because of the climb rate of the airplane, the initial rate of climb, you can get up 4,000 foot a minute with no problem. So the turbines obviously operate so much more efficiently in the mid 20s or 20s. So it doesn't, I mean, if we fly over to Portland, which is 150 miles or not quite 150 miles away or whatever, we'll jump up to 24,000 feet, and it only takes us a few minutes to get there. So in that way, our fuel burns down, and you get up there, you fly for a few minutes in level, and then you start your descent to whatever approaches they're assigning you. See the bustle of activity out here on the factory floor, our avionics section. Any other questions?
So the auto throttle, auto land is not yet available. Are you expecting that? I think you addressed this.
Yeah.
But
Not soon. The simplicity of operating this aircraft comes in. I know it doesn't have auto throttle on it and those things, but when you start up, interesting thing about this airplane is it starts really fast because we have a large dual battery system on this. This is the PT6 67A engine, so it's 1,200 horsepower. So it's nice to be able to spin it up quickly and get it started. And so the batteries we have on it do it very quickly within just a few seconds. So you start up, you advance your fuel, lights off. Once you're up and running and you're ready to taxi out, you advance your prop, you advance your fuel control, and you're done with it for the rest of the flight. Until you might want to adjust a little bit up at altitude with the prop, because you will get some little bit different performance with the prop, which is nice. But from there, you're burning, your fuel burn and everything else is all regulated by your power setting on the power control.
Mike, how long is training and where is it done?
Right now, we have full training here. We have a Frasca flight simulator. It didn't take me long to get over there. So long to get over there, I show you the full flight simulator and everything else. But I'm sorry, I got someone trying to call me, but I will get it later. The flight training all day, we have full Frasca flight simulator. We have a preliminary program where you, prior to delivery, you sign on to our online ground school, get some preliminary training of aircraft familiarization when you get here, and then once you're here, you'll know about the aircraft, and then you step up from there to this. We'll do a delivery, so you have the flight training. Everything happens right here, and then we have recurrent training happening here, and we're adding mentor pilots around the country as we speak. So we have more and more mentor pilots, and so eventually we'll be able to train on the East Coast. But that's probably a couple of years away.
What are you seeing as the transition requirements for typical owner? Say he's got 600-700 hours, not much retract, if any. Like say a Cirrus guy moving up.
Right.
Is insurance looking for 50 hours a dual, or what do they say?
Yeah, 50 hours of dual. So you'll have between 10 and 15 hours here. And then one of our mentor pilots will fly with you on your trips and everything. We had one guy come in. He was here, got fully checked out within 5 days, and then he was about a 600 or 700 hour Cirrus pilot. And then from there, I flew with a mentor pilot, and he wanted to get it going. So they literally put 50 hours on the complete 50 hours on the airplane in a week. They just went out and just flew the heck out of it. So, anything's doable. We'll try to work with everybody on it. And if you will typically spend, our goal is to train to completion and our competence. And if at the end of 9 days, our standard is 5 days. At the end of 9 days, if you're not ready yet, we'll put you with a mentor for a while and then come back and complete your training when you're ready.
You said the standard school at the factory is 5 days?
The factory's 5 days, 5 to 9 days. Yeah.
Okay. So is the training provided directly by the factory or by authorized training provider?
No, we want to keep a handle on that. So I'm gonna hang on a second. I'm gonna step outside. Give me just a moment. I'll get out where it's not so noisy. Of course, I do have the wind now.
Mike, while you're walking there, how many guys in golf clubs can you fit in this thing?
You could stand a couple of bags in the back baggage area, or you could lay them down in between the seats. We have a pretty wide seat area. Go to our website, you can see quite a bit on the seating, how it's set up, and it's pretty wide inside, so you got lots of room. You can lay them on the floor.
What is the baggage capacity in the back in terms of weight?
Well, it's 200 pounds, and it's big enough to put 7 carry-on bags back there, and then a couple carry-on bags between the front and rear seat, the middle seats.
Okay. And there's no nose baggage compartment, is that right?
That's correct. There is not.
What are you seeing for insurance rates? An example, annual premiums.
We're seeing for very low time pilots, like 200 to 300 hour pilots, probably about 100,000 a year. And then after the first year, it comes down from there. And the higher time pilots between 45 and 65, depending on what their qualifications are.
By time pilots, are you talking about in the Epic or in any other aircraft?
Any other turbine aircraft, so like turbine power aircraft. A lot of it has to do with your turbine time, which you fly. So we've had everything from 200 or 300 hour Cirrus pilots up to multi-thousand hour turbine pilots. So just across the board.
What about short field performance capabilities?
Short field performance capabilities, the airplane, we tell people that, well, first of all, if you define short field like grass runways, things like that, we don't recommend any soft field. It needs to be hard pack. 2,500 foot is very easily to operate this aircraft off of. It actually takes off and lands in less than 2,000 feet. And all our numbers that we give you, that we tell that you see, they're all under gross weight. So we're not making anything up.
It's not approved for unapproved strip operation now. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's if you're looking at you know, hard pack, it'll operate just fine, but soft field, things like that. And it'd be kind of hard. It's an 8,000 pound gross weight airplane, and it's got smaller tires on it, so you got to really, you know, judge what you want to do with it.
That's the problem with soft fields. It's just too heavy.
Well, that's what I'm saying is if you got soft grass, stuff like that, not so much on the landing and takeoff. It's when you stop and shut down, it's going to settle in because you have a small, you know, you have a small cross section on your tires. So an 8,000, if you're anywhere close to gross weight, it's going to settle down into it. You had a training question there?
Yeah, were you saying you kept that in-house?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I lost you on that. Yeah, we're all in-house right now. We wanted to keep a handle on everything on our training. So we have a team of instructors here that we work with. Peter King, who used to be, if any of you guys are familiar with Cirrus, he was one of the Cirrus instructors for a long, long time. I actually worked with him back in the Columbia days. He's put together a very comprehensive training program. I don't think there's one out there that can beat it. We just want to keep a handle on it to make sure that we had the best training for what we need for our aircraft.
Awesome. Are there any more questions for Mike while you have him?
Mike, when you coming back to Arkansas, Texas area?
We'll be back. We'll probably have an airplane back over that way for coming on the way to Sun and Fun. Yeah, we just got back from the run in Texas. Is that where you live?
I'm in Hot Springs, Arkansas, but
Okay.
Spent a lot of time in Beecham and in Arkansas.
Yeah, we had one potential depositor there in Arkansas, and if you're interested, I can put him in contact with him. He's got a placeholder on one of the airplanes, but he just hasn't realized to make it work yet. But ping me, Mike at epicaircraft.com, and I can maybe put you two together and you guys could talk.
Okay.
Yeah, Scotty, I put Mike's info in the chat, so if you need it, you can also copy it from there.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that was Scotty I was talking to. Well, you're the one I'm talking about, Scotty. I can put you in contact with yourself. It's been almost 2 years since I've seen you, man. I didn't recognize you. One of the things that I've been hearing from guys is many of them are talking about a fractional program where they are a partnership. I've got a guy down in Houston right now. He's been waiting for a long time to find a partner that he could partner up with. He's and I think in fractional programs, you're going to see this airplane become really popular. because everybody wants what it does. But you know, like one guy said that started a fractional program, and he put an airplane on his fractional. He asked the guy, he said, how many hours you fly? And he said 200 hours a year. And he said, what are you doing with your airplane the other 10 months out of the year, or 50 weeks out of the year? And that's true, because the 200 hours, you know, there's 50 weeks there the airplane's not being used. So that's a good viable thing to look at as a partnership or a fractional program.
Have any significant service bulletins come out since certification?
There's been service bulletins and service letters. You're always going to have that, especially on a new airframe. But our guys have been really good about getting on them and taking care of them.
Awesome. Are there any more questions? I know there was a question about how to do the tax on any Epic aircraft. I put my information in the chat. I'll also put Tom's email in the chat so you guys can get in touch with us so we can help you with that. Anything else for us, Mike?
You know, if you have questions, like I say, Mike at epicaircraft.com, and I can take care of any of your questions and help you with anything you might need.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, thanks. Good to see you again. Sorry I didn't recognize you there, Scotty.
Thank you, everyone.
Talk to you all soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.